Nord taking the L versus Venom Crest. Venom Crest one step closer to playoffs. We only have one seat remaining on the train, and it seems like Venom Crest are willing to lock it in. The next game will be quite important, and we'll talk about it as soon as we get there for Light Side versus Blue Whites. But for now, let's understand how we got to this position for Venom Crest, because Nord kind of tried to take the wheels at the beginning of the game, but they never did anything with it.
Yeah, okay, I'll jump in on that one.
Jump in! Do it!
Nord started off with getting a very, very good bot lane fight for themselves. The big thing is they didn't do anything. They got 0 dragons. I think they got like a couple of grubs. Oh no, they got 3 grubs. And that's it. 0 dragons, 3 grubs, and a couple of towers. That was all they took this game. On the other side, Venom Crest 2 were behind, were just able to punish by grabbing multiple objectives, taking some seriously good fights. And again, I go back to it. I prefer the Corki to the Tristana. I'm going to put that to bed for now. It'll probably come up in the next champ select as well, because we are handshaking those 2 champs all day. The Skarner, super impactful. I know Doctor's going to be very happy about this one, because he is a Skarner enjoyer.
I'm really happy.
He said, I want them to get MVP where they had 1 kill participation. Just a peek behind the curtain on that one. But he
Do
did
I care?
actually...
Absolutely not.
I think he made the game-winning play as well. So, yeah, the Skarner ended up being really impactful.
But that's the thing, right? Like, we've talked about the importance of that champ, and we've talked about how much stuff you can just provide all across the board. And I feel like in general, actually, honestly, like giving a lot of props to Venom Crest in here as they've dropped the gauntlet in this game. Because we've been talking about this in the draft, right? That there is Brand that can theoretically just absolutely decimate your game plan and can make life of your Skarner and Xin really hard. And I felt like we were lacking this quite a lot in this game. I didn't see a lot of that proactivity from Nord. I didn't see a lot of that, let's try to bring down the Skarner, bring down the Xin as much as we can. And the one thing that I've really liked from both Venom Crest and Nord, but more from Venom Crest, obviously, since they've won the game, is that as a comparison to the previous game, in this game, we've seen a lot of, you made a mistake, we're going to punish you for that, right? This type of like very high stakes League of Legends. And Venom Crest shown themselves as a better team in that particular regard. And genuinely, I was just so incredibly happy to see them react so well in these team fights.
It was important for them. Yeah, tell me, Hilbrand, because we have
one
to toss
very light point, because I know you need to get on with your stuff. I just think Yoka had a complete disrespect for the enemy team comp and found themselves caught multiple times. They're on a squishy Brand. You're gonna get killed. You're gonna get taken out, and that ultimately I think was the biggest flaw in the Nord team. There was Yoka, who I think typically is the shining star, this new jungler. I think he just wasn't paying respect. That final fight inside the base, he didn't flash the Skarner R. He wasn't stunned. He had every ability to flash it. He got dragged into the enemy team, got wiped, and I think that was kind of the final nail in the coffin.
He's not letting this one go. So let's toss
it
to the interview with Theo Cax. He's waiting for us. It's the other jungler who actually shines through. Welcome to the interview. How are you doing? Wait, is that a gaming house? Are you all playing together?
Yeah, it's a gaming house, but it's a French gaming house. But it's not with Venom Crest. I'm just here.
I was wondering, like, is that Venom Crest, like, LAN house? That was interesting. No. You're one step closer to playoffs. There's only one slot available. Nervous at all?
Not really. I will be humble, but I think it was pretty sure we will go to playoff anyway. And
because if Light Side wins the next game, you're locked in. You're aware of that.
Yeah, but like anyway, we will probably 2-0 week the next week, so
you're not even concerned at all. Okay, I love it. So tell me, how was the journey so far with Venom Crest? How are you feeling with this team? How is the synergy? If you make playoffs, how do you think playoffs will go moving forward with the way the team is right now?
I think we like 2 or 3 weeks before we were like a bit like on the down, and I think we'll top win this league. We need to to go back to take the revenge already during this playoff.
Hey, I like it. So, do you believe Venom Crest will be stronger on the best of scenario instead of a best of one?
Yeah.
Is that what you feel like your strength?
Because best of one is like you can't end upset is possible in best of one. It's harder in best of 5.
Okay. If you have to pick any team moving into playoffs that you really want to fight against, who would it be to begin the show?
Ready.
Everybody's going for ready. Okay. Hey, Theo Cax, congratulations. You're one step closer, but you're not even worried. 2-0 on the next week, right? I can put my points on Venom Crest, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I like it. Thank you so much, Theo Cax. I'll see you soon. Have a lovely one.
See you. Thank you.
The best thing
Not even
there,
worried. Okay, tell me.
the best thing there is he doesn't have to worry. Like, straight up, this was the hardest game they have to play at the end of the season. Their next 2 teams are Lightside and Natives. Run a schedule, very in Venom Crest's favor. I think is a very high chance they make it as our 4th team into the playoffs, and they are doing the reverse of what we saw last season from Venom Crest. They had a very solid start and a very poo ending. This time, they are just on fire at the end of the season, and these guys look genuinely quite scary going into best ofs. I'm excited to see more from them.
Yes, but what about Nord? How are they feeling after today's game? Yesterday we had such a big rant about how they were walking into playoffs. Ecstasy! I mean, you got to tell me, because the mental was trash talking, and now you have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The only thing that happened, I mean, yeah, sure, we're chilling because we're in playoffs, you know. This game especially didn't feel that great because I mean the only thing that happened by the way in this game I feel like we were actually like pretty ahead, like we were at some point like 4.5k ahead. The only thing that happened was that we didn't play the fights properly, and that was it. Like we pretty much choked in the team fights.
And that's a specific team fight. I would like you to go back, like to look into the past, the one for the dragon, and then not only you give the dragon, you give the Baron. What happened there? That was like so weird. It wasn't. It didn't
I don't know.
Nord.
We just didn't execute the fights properly, and as well, like in the Herald fight, we pretty much choked. Like Rail was 1 HP. We couldn't join because Rail was dead, and we couldn't do anything. And after that, I remember there was a fight as well on mid lane when they put Herald, and my brain just flashed in, you know. And after that was just pretty much disaster everywhere.
So if you had to blame anyone on this like loss, if you had to pick one of your teammates for this loss, why would you pick Romeo?
I mean, no. I mean, no, guys. I think it's like everyone's fault, you know. Like we didn't play as a team, and that was it, you know. But yeah, like sure, like Romeo didn't play that well, you know.
I love it, man. I love it. Are you even concerned about playoffs and moving in because of seeding or anything of that? Or you're like, we're comfortable regardless of what position we're in, we're gonna take it all?
I mean, it's a bit sad, let's say, because I don't think we have a chance to finish first, like right now. But still, I mean, we don't have like any problem, you know, because like our main goal was to finish first and do playoffs. But yeah, I mean, we just don't have like any problem, and we can face everyone in best of 5.
Makes sense. Hey, it happens. Now you can talk to Momentum and say, hey, don't be that trashy on interviews, or else we got to deal with it. Thank you so much for this interview, Ecstasy. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, same. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I like the trash talk.
It's an interesting point, actually, that they're making. I want to bring your attention towards it just for a second here, right? Because something that we already touched upon with hip range, something we touched upon in the previous games when the stakes were very high for DMG and Verdun. And now the same thing that you pretty much just talked about with Ecstasy here is this psychological approach towards the game, right? And I feel like after talking with a lot of different coaches and talking with a lot of different athletes, not just in esports, but in general, I feel like it's very important to come into the game with a clear head. And in here, a little bit, I feel like the psychological pressure played a bit of a different game, right? It's like, we're already locked in the playoffs, so it's fine. We're not going to finish first. That's also fine. So maybe we got a bit too relaxed when we were walking into that game, you know? And I feel like that approach, maybe subconscious a little bit, but that backfired a bit in the performance of the team.
But that's a 100% excuse. Like, if you want to be the best, you got to beat everyone. You're not allowed to take that slip. I see your reasoning. Like, hey, we're locked in for playoffs. But if you think that way, Ready will eat you alive. Because Ready are not playing around. So if you want to take down Ready, you can't play around. And if you want to win this one, well, LLS have to win this one, or else they're out of playoffs versus Blue Whites. And this may look in paper quite easy, but the last time they met, it was not that easy for Light Side. And it was not Quest as well in the jungle. And now Blue Whites just got a victory yesterday, so how is their momentum? They're playing like the destroyer of parties, so maybe they can do it again for LLS. They did it yesterday, can they do it again?
They do have to go versus the ball buff though in Fruity, which I think is terrifying to go up against. This guy's a very wide champion pool, something you have to kind of keep in mind of. And heading into this picks and bans, I'm going to be very interested to see if they look to target Fruity or move outside of that. The Rengar target ban is always going to come up versus Blue Whites. No surprises on that front. I'm interested if anyone else has got the Skarner in their back pocket, because Dota had a big ramble about it. I kind of rebutted with, no one's playing Skarner in this league for whatever reason, because I agree.
I am converting people into a Skarner church.
He's absolutely busted. But like, I mean, like every time I've covered LPL, it's like super high priority. You come over here, and it's like the champion never got reworked. Like the teams just avoid it. Except Venomcrest have now revealed that they can play it. So I want to see more and more teams start to move towards that, and in turn, I want to see things like this Mordekaiser start to show up as an answer to that. But
Hiprain,
right,
you can just scream out in glory and joy, because Cork and Tristana got both banned, so that means we're gonna get something different in the mid lane. That's also very cool. But one thing that just never changes is that, okay, we don't have a Corky to have an insta pick, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna do Rel, probably one of the greatest supports that we have right now. Theoretically, there is also, you can still play jungle. I wonder whether we're gonna bring it there from here, right?
Because right now jungle. They did nerf her jungle, but someone whose jungle is not nerfed is this Zyra. Zyra, just obnoxiously fast clearing jungler. There is no one in the game who clears as quick as her. If you can get set up on Baron, you can 20-minute Baron in absolutely no time. It's a very, very potent pick. Now, on the other side, we know Fruity typically likes to play more AP style. Hold on, they just switched off the Zyra for the Karma. Okay. I'll come back to that in a brief second. We do have the idea that Sumi could just go AD mid. We know he likes to play AD. We know Fruity likes to play AP. So there is the ability for this to be like a Yone, Aurelion Soul, or I can't remember what other Sumi picks there are. Obviously, Corki and Tristana taken off the mix. I expect this to at least be a mid laner and a jungler. That's a Fruity pick for
he's going back.
Yeah, that's true, Fruity, that is.
I really want Custom to lock something specifically. He talked about it on the interview. He told me, like, at the end of the day, if I was older, I would say to myself right now, you gotta pick Kassadin more often. If you're that good on the champion, you gotta lock him in regardless of the meta. He knows he's already out of playoffs. I want to see it. I want to see why he talks about Kassadin all the time. Vi would also be interesting, like, supporting the pick from Fruity Fresh. Okay, that's a lock in. We haven't seen it for a while. I mean, you got a Yezreal scaling, you got the Karma for protection. You know the AD carry's going to scale. Come on.
I would so agree with you, but I know Sumi plays AD mids, and Kassadin then basically loses his passive to that, so you kind of got to keep that in mind, but this is most likely what Sumi's going to go down. They go for the Mundo? Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay, this is amazingly interesting right now, because Mundo... I mean, I don't know what you're going to say, Archon, but from my point of view, he's pretty strong in the top currently. He heals like a truck. He hits like 2 trucks. And with overall approach, with that Karma, theoretically, this Mundo is going to be absolutely unkillable.
Solo queue wise, Mundo is at the top charts on the top lane. So,
yeah, he is bonkers.
Can you transition this into competitive? I have no idea. Oh, come on!
There you go.
I can't believe they banned the Carf. Actually, sorry, no, the Kassadin. I actually can believe it now I think about it, because there's a lot of AD locked in for light side, so Sumi's probably going to play an AP mid. So Kassadin, you know, as much as anywhere else, you might be like, why are they banning Kassadin? Custom will play it. It will actually suit them. And they decide to go away from that on that front. Now, looking towards the bans we're seeing from Blue Whites, probably more top lane bans, things like the Aatrox that can kind of scrap versus the Mundo. No, it's an Ari ban on Sumi instead. There's going to be the Zyra ban coming in. That makes sense because Blue Whites haven't picked up a jungler yet, and Zyra obnoxiously fast. But if we are going to run down the list of like AP junglers, you have the Brand still open, you have the Lilia still open, so they could just look down that line. A lot of our players, I see you, Doctor, kind of tilting your head. A lot of our players actually do play really bizarre top laners here. Although the Mundo's locked in, so it's Mundo jungle.
Yeah, that's why I'm tilting my head. It's Mundo jungle at the end of the day. Okay, I mean, honestly, I can see why. I can see theoretically why is that happening. Because a good cleaver can potentially get you a very good kill on both Rail and Smolder already, right? Because the slow is pretty obnoxious. The cleaver's cooldown is really small as well. It's not that it's not that you can just hit it instantly over a bunch of seconds, but it's still very low. So theoretically, I can see why this is happening. But my only concern is how well it's going to do against Vi.
Wait, if
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No,
that's too much AD.
If you pick melee, Custom is gonna play Lee Sin.
Yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. They better lock that. So I will go on a rant in a moment. Right, that's locked in. Cool. I like the LeBlanc. Now, here's why I like the LeBlanc. There is a lot of kind of like, they just want to buy time on the side of Blue Whites. LeBlanc is the early game champion, along with Pantheon. I'll give you that, Archer. But LeBlanc is someone who is going to be scrapping early, looking for kills. There is always a bunch of different counter picks up and available here. Custom wants to flex his muscles a little bit.
Galio, go Galio.
That's old.
I would love a
Galio. Okay.
That's boring. Come on.
Here, right. Let's just talk a little bit about what the expectations are. Blue Whites want time, right? You've got Victor, you've got Ezreal, you've got Mundo, you've got a Karma to kind of provide more shielding and healing. Like, the later this goes, the more control Blue Whites are going to have over this game. You do obviously have that kind of ticking time clock in the
Smolder.
In the Smolder, thank you very much. I forgot the name of the champion there. But you have you have a Vi, you have a LeBlanc, you have a scrapping, fighty, skirmish, heavy mid jungle. I want to see Sumi and Bot Holdy find Quest and just murder him on loop. Like, this Mundo is not going to be able to stand up to those two going toe-to-toe. It's a mixed AP AD damage. Light side, if they can accelerate this early game, this game is a wrap before Blue Whites can even get going.
Absolutely. But think about it this way. As long as Blue Whites are going to be able to hold their ground. Which, I mean, if you look just on paper, it seemed unlikely because of the scoreboard. I'm sorry to burn like this, but to be frank, if you just look on paper, that doesn't really seem that likely, especially for the fact that for LLS, it's such an important game because they need to try to get that playoff spot. But as soon as you're going to be able to survive a little bit longer, get your Gnar going, get your Mundo going with that Karma, how are you going to kill this? How are you going to kill that piece of meat that just runs around the rift, looks at you like this and goes, go on, try. Have fun killing, mate. You're not going to anyway.
The accent on try. I love
it. It's just imagine, you know, like Emperor Palpatine sitting there in the face of blue whales and just going, do it.
So LLS are now facing a timer. Not only they have to defeat Blue Whites, but they have to do it fast if they want to look into playoffs. Venomcrest will be happy if they fail, and Blue Whites will just be happy to get another win. I'm just happy to toss it to the casters, Initialize and Foxtrot.
I think you'll find this team comp is fully operational.
Oh god.
Foxy's so disappointed in me.
Fair play, mate. Fair play.
I think he called Dr. Palpatine.
He did make a Duke's reference. He did indeed. And they've entered the dark side, despite them, you know, we're
being
light side.
Exactly. That's it.
So, fair play.
Well, perhaps enough about the light side and the dark side. Let's head to the rift and see which one comes out on top. So the big issue I ran into with pulling off my Emperor Palpatine impression is that my chair couldn't turn the entire way around, so I got stuck at 90 degrees angles slightly awkwardly and just had to play it off.
You also look far too vibrant for life to pass as Emperor Palpatine, mate.
You're very kind. This is just with the makeup on, mate. You should see me in the morning.
And a hood, and I think you'd be sorted, to be fair.
Yeah, that's it. Another time.
Fair play. Well, we're on to the Rift on a plane far away. Not airplane, plane like a plane of existence. Yeah. Rune Terror this one is in. You know what? Listen.
Next to Tatooine, I take it.
I put 5 points on Blue Whites this game.
Oh, did you now? Okay.
Hell yeah. Unfortunately, they won yesterday, and I feel like, do you know what I mean? I was looking for my big moment.
You get one.
Yeah, exactly.
You get one, exactly. Yeah.
So that's disappointing. But to be perfectly honest, team comp wise, I'm kind of vibing. I'm kind of feeling it. To be honest,
I quite like it too.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think the Mundo just going where he pleases can be a bit of an issue for Lightside. To be honest, like I'm not really a big fan of the LeBlanc pick. To be perfectly honest, especially since it was blind. I don't think there are many good targets for LeBlanc, to be honest, this game, right? Like someone like Karma also will contribute.
Maybe the Karma, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a lot of
yeah.
Denying right there. So, I mean, to be fair, yeah. Look, there's a Mundo Jungle. We should probably be talking a little bit about that. Mundo Jungle gets a little bit low on health when he's clearing because all of his abilities cost health. So it takes fleet footwork to stay on top of that. Build-wise, he'll be doing pretty standard stuff, most likely just health builds. Warmogs is really powerful right now. Heartsteel, yes, you don't sack it very well as a jungler, but it's probably still your best option. Sunfire, Sunfire items, items that build out of Barmy Cinder are very good on Mundo, but those items kind of suck right now, so probably won't be seeing them, unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. I think he'd be better as a jungler, more in meta, if those items were good.
Available to him, yeah.
They're unfortunately not, so yeah, he's going to be pretty much just a meat shield this game, trying to get in front of Fruity Fresh on that Smolder and buy some space for MKR, who, in my humble opinion, has been the best member here for Blue Whites. I think Costum has had his games as well, but as far as actual reliability, consistency, it's been MKR, and on a champion like Ez, there's a lot of skill expression there, right? A lot of kind of taking things into your own hands. And I want to see it. I want to see it this game. I want to see him getting my 5 points.
I think he might have to do a fair number of his own stunts this game because the engage options for Blue Whites are pretty limited this game. You've got a couple slows here and there, maybe a route from the Karma, but really it's what? Gnar flank or bust. You're basically really good. You're really good retreating. You've got a lot of damage to your name, and if you can sit up and poke, it'll get pretty obnoxious. But it's Lightside with all the tools to go forwards, and a big chunk onto Costum. He has to put down the gravity field, and maybe Jake had the right of it because it's going to force some damage. Sumi not going to have the cooldown available for another distortion, but Costum already forced to blow the flash and leave the lane.
Yeah, flash for flash right there. Unfortunately, Sumi's wishing it wasn't a teleport meta and that he could be taking Ignite on that LeBlanc.
Yeah.
It's always a sad state of affairs when you see Zeds and LeBlancs taking teleport. Like, that's surely just not it.
Alex
surely
is nodding somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he'd probably still just take it anyway, but yeah, this is going to be a trade for flashes at the end of the day, which I do think works out in favor for Lightside. It means more for Victor to lose his flash than it does for LeBlanc. And as a result, we could be seeing a return gank in the mid side at some point. Definitely good gank set up for LeBlanc and Vi there.
It's a good trade there from Elijah into Veluxa. And of course, Elijah kind of got a little bit maligned, really, for only finding success largely on the Cassante. What is he, 4-1 on that champion, and then a win on the Rumble that's the most broken top laner on the patch. Everything else really struggled to find success with, and despite really good Cassante games, there still has been a question about, well, what does he look like on these other champions? Here on the Aatrox, we have to do a bit more work as MKR, the person who is supposed to be a little bit more consistent, forced to flash after a very solid engage there from Fastlegged, who also ignites.
Yep, flash down there for both carries on Blue Whites. So a bit of a pick of the litter here for a Lightside if they want to roam, if they want to play with Bartoldi as well. Vi's not exactly known for her ganks, but certainly can make it happen, especially with no flash.
Oh, big chunk, and that'll be a flash for a Vault Breaker and First Blood Costum. is custom built to die in the mid lane.
He's out of it. He's done so. First blood there, as you mentioned, over to Bartholdi. Could be worse for Blue Whites in the sense that LeBlanc could be getting the kill, but still, nice little pickup right there, punishing that flashless Victor. Really is kind of illegal to be allowed to lane versus LeBlanc. Be pushed up anywhere in that mid lane and not have your flash. You shouldn't be able to survive that, and he does not, especially without any vision. That just feels disrespectful, to be perfectly honest. But moving on rapidly here, we've got Quest on his quest to slay all the dragons. He's getting the first one down here. Not going to be traded out for the grubs because grubs haven't spawned yet. And Veluxa has been doing a fairly good job at getting lane priority topside. So potentially they won't even have to trade out for the grubs either. They might be able to look to take that one. Although Vi's, as I say that, she's already on it, so that's probably not going to happen.
The moment you spoke of it, it was cursed. That's how it works. We're all made fools by the camera. That's the way that one happens. Bartholdi will get a hold of these, and I don't think Quest is realistically getting over here in any reasonable time frame, so this should still be all three grubs going the way of Bartholdi, who has done a really good job about making sure that the early access into that mid lane came up with a win. Quest doesn't have a blast cone to get on over here. Might throw a ukulele and pray, but there will be a smite available, and the auto attack on top of it secures all three grubs. Quest, a known quantity on this top side. Bartholdi will come over and start up taking away this control ward. Needs to be a little bit wary, but should be able to just queue over the wall and out to safety.
Gotta respect the damage from Mundo, honestly. And the fact that he has his passive, which will negate the first form of hard CC.
So annoying.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to play against, but will work against Vault Breaker. Speaking of.
Yeah, the damage afterwards, though, will force the flash. Flash on forwards for the Q. Can get a Q2 afterwards. Back onto Quest.
Oh.
Taken low, but not quite down. My days, what's the HP bar? Can someone tell us? 48 HP at most there.
Yeah.
Another auto would have done him in.
He went down to 1 HP there as well because he threw his cleaver, which takes health.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it takes health, but it can't kill you, so it leaves you on 1 HP. And that was the total at the end when he was under the tower there.
That's a fair shout, yeah.
Yeah, kind of scary stuff. Cost him though.
Oh boy, he's in danger. Does have a gravity field. Will get a stun onto the Viper. Remember, still has no flash and doesn't really have an ultimate to work with either. Another E would do him in here. Gets to jump on top of. Will surely die. Sumi does not fall to the tower afterwards either. And Bartholdi picks up a second in this game onto the mid lane.
Kind of close right there. Sumi almost falling in that one, but again, nice punish right there for Bartholdi. Vault Breaker plus those chains. Even if you add the distortion into it, I'm not sure how you meant to lane as this. And bear in mind, this was a blind LeBlanc. You got to last pick your mid laner, and they chose this Victor. Now Victor so far, obviously easy pickings for Lightside. Ooh, speaking of, Quest should be able to just run away from this one. Yeah, it's just gonna walk out.
Yep.
Easy pickings for Lightside is that Victor, but he had options here. He had options to do different things. They decided they wanted that carry, and it really does just depend how this game develops here, right? Because right now, yes, it sucks. It sucks if you're Victor, you're down 2 kills, but you're still up 20 CS, which is significant. And whether you can still transition into that big teamfight presence as the game goes on, that's the important thing.
Quest did have a quick look in there to see whether Raptors were available to be stolen. Doesn't have the smite up and available, but could make Bartholdi's life a little bit difficult, of course, with that gank in mid lane. Made sure that a lot of his camps were still up while Quest had cleared all of his, so trying to make the Vi's life as difficult as possible here.
That's what it's all about. Mundo does clear the jungle exceptionally fast. You'd be surprised the amount of damage that ukulele does. It's based on percentage health damage. And jungle
is he just
monsters
playing that badly that it's causing like emotional damage?
Exactly.
Is that what it is? So hang on.
I would about.
Sumi.
That's
I enjoy the
clone.
fact that now on the spectator it says clone in capital letters above the LeBlanc clone.
It's great.
As well.
It's great. It does it in live as well. I don't know whether you need to have like nameplates enabled or something. But I noticed it as well as a bit of a Shaco enjoyer. Sorry, by the way, for that.
I hate you with a burning passion.
Yeah, I know.
Just
I
so you know.
understand it. I understand it. But it happens all the time as well. So there's also, this is completely unrelated, but there's a Challenger Shaco 1 trick whose name is 2v9. And I love that.
That's great.
I just think that's such a cool little name.
The thing is, I feel like I'm throwing out the shade to you, and I'm an Evelyn main, so like I don't think I get the right to throw shade when considering my whole job is to make people as angry as possible from invisibility.
No, that's true. Eva's disgusting. I can't play versus that champ. Anytime I see her on the enemy team, I'm just like, that's a Smurf. I don't know what it is, but it just attracts Smurfs. and it's so hard to play
I think
against.
it's basically because people in lower elos are not great at object permanence, and so
It's
you
so
being
true.
invisible is like a nightmare for people below, say,
true.
platinum.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, if you can't see her, and she's frustrating. She has a lot of frustrating elements to her kit
Sure.
as well. So screw that
Ah,
champion.
it's great.
And yeah, it seems to be any champion with stealth or clones is a bit annoying. And I think the Blanc is filling that bill this game here for Lightside. But still, I mean, let's talk about it. It's only 100 gold advantage for the Blanc here, despite the fact that she's been the benefactor of two kills onto the Victor. Gold total in favor of Blue Whites here. Mundo will be getting this second dragon, or most likely getting this second dragon here. Now is thinking about moving down. I don't know. He's kind of zigzagging around the base. Should be able to pick this one up. This Q. Ukulele does a lot of damage. Careful, Custom, mate. Your team's on dragon. You can't be getting caught now.
The chainsaw land, but the Chaos Storm does a lot of work. Gets a nice chunk onto him. Does not get donated to Sumi again. A third kill to the Vi. Comes on over and tries to steal away the dragon. Can't quite make it happen as Quest throws down that defibrillator. Turns out that Mundo, when he's not playing the ukulele, is also apparently in charge of life-saving CPR.
Mundo does it all, mate. Does it all. I'm just... Yeah, it's a tough lane. It's a tough lane to survive in, playing versus the Blanc and Vi. Anytime that you know, Assault and Battery is up, or is it called Assault and Battery anymore?
It's not. It's Cease and Desist now, renamed over the last few years. He was once upon a time that name.
Indeed.
No longer that.
Yeah, so whenever the ultimate is up for Vi, you just gotta know you're gonna be falling down here. Speaking of Elijah.
Doesn't want to enjoy listening to the music. Gets a fair amount of damage back. Q3 flashed away from Elijah, trading up pretty well. Flashes the ukulele, but where on earth is he going to go? Quest flashes in response and will slay the Aatrox.
Unfortunately for Elijah, that flash just came up. Like, he was ticking down 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds while that fight was happening. Because I think if his flash was available, you know, 2 or 3 seconds earlier, he would have Q3 flashed onto Veluxa and traded that kill. So, unfortunate for him there, that flash not quite available, but still gets flash out of both Veluxa and Quest for that, which is a positive. At least he goes down swinging.
Yeah, and Sumi will manage to sweep one ward and try and take the other one. Fast-legged is over the wall here on the Rel that they're so well known for. First time's begin to get complete as well as Costum eats a big chain trade. Flashed on in for the Shattering Strike. He stays alive, and Sumi finally gets a kill of their own. Dark Seal and Inventory to boot will begin to smack some unfathomable evil in that ring.
He's going to be trying to do that, at least for sure. Oh man,
It's not been fun.
I feel like Costum is being quite disrespectful here. You know, he's not.
Yeah.
He's always getting a little too close. He's flirting with LeBlanc, not respecting that there could be someone around.
It's not a 1v1.
It's
yeah,
never
been,
a 1v1.
4 times?
Yeah, every single one has been a gank, but he's feeding it to them, you know, on a plate.
Elijah needs to be scared here. Gets the healing with the passive. Q2's gonna try and think for Q3. The chat gets some healing back. Wallop comes on down. Bartholdi now here though should surely be able to pick up that 1-for-1. Waiting on the ability to need that cease and desist. Gets the slow. The denting blows come on through. Another Q comes on out and doesn't need to use anything more.
Excellent solo queue though for Veluxa right there. Perfect stuff.
Yeah.
I was a bit concerned when I saw the Gnar lock in because we've seen Veluxa on Gnar before, and personally I feel like this is not his strongest champion. But this is great. Perfect stuff. Gets that solo kill onto the Aatrox. Very nicely done right there. And unfortunate that Bartholdi was around to return. But credit to Bartholdi, man. He has been everywhere. He's 4-0-0 as well. Like, he's a big boy. He's been doing good stuff. He's getting fed. And he's scary. He's scary right now on his presence on the map. As we've seen before, to be honest, with Lightside, this is not the first time this man has done this.
Oh no!
Wait,
what?
what?
So is that stolen?
How did he get that? Was
Red
that the
buff
jungle
burn?
pet?
Must have been a jungle pet or a burn.
Red
I
buff
don't
work
know
off
how.
Qs, no? Does that work with
I don't think so. It must have been jungle pet then. You're absolutely right. I was like, where on earth did that steal come from?
That's crazy. All right, 5v5, baby. Let's see what we got. MKR's not quite here, but we could be getting a big fight.
Sneeze comes out from Smolder, Fruity Fresh. Continue to try and stack up that passive. Comes in with a call to Mum, who gets a chunk on out. Will try and steal this one away. Doesn't manage to make it happen. And the Herald is taken, and Quest gets away with murder on 2 buffs there.
Very nice for Quest. Excellent stuff. Mundo is just vibing right here. He's 30 CS up as well. He's doing good. He wants to get into that unstoppable frontline position. And he's on his way to do that with that Heartsteel probably going into Warmogs as well. Warmogs is one of the most broken items on this patch right now.
It's very strong.
Yeah, anyone that can use that, can abuse that is pretty happy. And definitely Quest is looking to do that this game.
Fruity Fresh will flap away briefly, and Costum now in towards the side lane. Has been the target of a lot of attacks. Still at least has managed to keep up with the farm. Is nearly at that 10 CS a minute mark, so at least on that front is continuing to keep up in gold, even if he has been a point of pain in terms of staying alive.
Spell Immune, very nice. I bet Costum wishes he had that in his kit as well. MKR did jump forward, got to be a bit scared there, but no, he's all good. But I told him we'll dash away from this one. It's a lot of damage, plus his Herald. There should be this mid tower falling down here. Quest face checking is good. He's the one you want to face check. Excellent. I do think potentially...
quite full.
Yeah. Potentially, I think that could have been the secure there was for the turret. But this could be third Dragon Man. This is so point for Blue Whites.
It is, because they use the Herald to buy pressure in mid lane, force a reset on the Smolder. Could look to come over the wall, would be a one-way trip, you imagine. Asumi goes over and gets a decent chunk, down to 2,000 HP. They have to know that the Vi could be in threat, but decides against say, look, we're going to have to give this one up. But a Mountain Soul towards the like of Armando, who's this ahead of the game, could prove really scary.
That is, yes, exceptionally. The Mountain Soul is a big one right here for Blue Whites, especially, you know, when there's like a LeBlanc on the enemy team who wants to be trying to pick people off. Getting that extra shield can be very valuable. This is crazy, man. What a game here for Blue Whites. You know, I'm always impressed when you see teams who are behind in kills but ahead in like objectives and like map pressure and stuff like that, because it shows that the team has a good understanding of macro, and they're more than just like okay, we're gonna deathball and we're gonna, you know, just suffocate you out of the map by just walking all over you, you know. And that's what we're kind of seeing in this game right here. You know, the fact that Blue Whites, you know, they're even technically behind in gold. It's not a huge amount, but you know, they're not. They don't have the resources necessarily, but they're playing it really well. They're playing the map really well. And it's really nice to see the evolution of this team. Even early on into the split, we knew this was a team that was better than their score indicated. And then yesterday, they pick up their first win in this game as well. This start, you know, it's far from over, but 20-ish minutes in. And they're doing great. They're doing some really good stuff. And this team has been put in a tough situation, joining here in the NLC. And here they are competing with the rest of the squad.
And I think it is fair to say that Jake called it out on desk. I know a lot of us have him behind the scenes as well, that like Blue Whites, the 1-10 scoreline isn't really indicative of what we've actually seen on the Rift. They've got their issues. There's a reason why they haven't won the games, but they aren't a team that is without their strengths. They're not a team without some will to come and play and fight. And in this game, there's certainly that. They are only 100 gold behind. They're actually at sole point, and that could really be a win condition here. But it is from this point of the game where they've often started to fall away from teams, and the fact that the LeBlanc is still kind of scary. The Vi has still gotten a lot of kills through all the farm, hasn't been as clean because Quest has been picking up so much of it, could still prove to be difficult, especially if they do allow Fruity Fresh to get towards some of those scarier points as Costum. Again in danger, the cease and desist comes on through, out comes Mom for a little bit extra damage, and Sumi gets out to safety, a 5th death onto the Victor. And that's what we talk about. We say Blue White still have some issues. They have got some difficulties in defending some options as the tower falls down before they can kill it, however. So that'll still be a 1-for-1 somehow. For looks of flashes the Q3 flash.
So there's something here. You say, you know, they've got some issues to work out. This is, you know, it took 5 of them, but finally Costum had a good death in this game. If Lightside want to send 3 gangsters down to get him, fine. He's cool with that, because look what they lost mid. 2 turrets, the outer turret, the inner turret, they're both gone now in the most important lane for that to happen as well. A great response from Blue Whites, and totally worth it for Costum. Not even considering the fact, right, that I don't know how, but somehow Vi died in that dive as well, right? Like, it looked like she was out and
stood there and took turret aggro. She went back, took turret aggro and died to that. They were trying to take the tower before it fell and misjudged it. And that's a shutdown over to the I
was going to say, a shutdown too, right? He was 4-0-1. Like, totally worth it there for Costum. This is the first play this game that has just been a complete fumble by Lightside. Blue Whites have done some good things, but it's been more like small incremental benefits. This one right here, just not a good play from Lightside, and Blue White's the beneficiary.
Randuin's completed by Quest.
Okay.
There is a fair amount of auto attackers, but it's only really the Smolder's going to be building anything resembling crit as it stands. Tower on the top side does fall down, and this makes it, again, a little bit tricky for Costom, who is not going to enjoy those longer lanes. Baltoldi will view away, but actually the slow is really obnoxious at this point. I think that's just a dead Vi. Big pick, and remember, Baron's alive. They can turn to it with the jungler down.
Here we go. Remember, Quest's percentage health damage on that Q does a lot of damage, but yeah, they're gonna decide against it.
Oh no!
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're doing in that situation. Yeah, that's not great. That's a bad death right there.
I love that you tried. I love that you tried to win it. Is there a way to spin this to be nicer? Like, nope, no, that one just sucks.
No, that just wasn't very good. Maybe he thought he was playing, like the Nautilus and stuff like that. You can maybe get away with it on those tankier champions, but certainly not when you're playing Karma. It's unnecessary as well, right? Like, this LeBlanc has actually got quite a difficult game lined up for her as far as this draft goes, and the way that things have panned out, and this is her lane assignment, etc., etc. Like, it's not an easy game to pirate this LeBlanc, but let's not make it easy for her. Let's not do that, because then suddenly, if she gets turbo fed, it becomes a lot easier, and we just don't want to be in that situation, do we, with Blue Whites?
Exactly, and now that a lot of the outer turrets are down, it becomes a lot harder for Blue Whites to stay safe against the engage. Again, they don't have the easiest way to pull the trigger themselves. They have Mundo running at you and getting slows. Maybe a flank from the Gnar, as we said. Around this dragon, it could get tricky because it is for once Lightsider in the river first.
Oh,
Flash
that's
on
a good
in!
engage!
Magnet Storm from the gods! They're all down! Lightside turn to the dark side and bring out a storm of thunder and fury that will leave Blue Whites blue in the face and choking in this game.
Oh my goodness, what an engage from Fastlane. That combo was insane, dragging the whole entirety of Blue Whites right there, followed up with the distortion into the mimic distortion there for the LeBlanc as well. Oh my goodness, this game was looking so tough for Lightside. Like, they dug themselves a fairly significant hole. That would have been soul as well for Blue Whites. And just like that, what an engage. But yeah, we might have to hold this one right here.
Teleports.
They have no idea. Lightside have zero clue that this is happening.
The Light's going to come over and face check. They know now, but it might be too little too late. Down to 5,000 HP. There's Vi's on the other side of the map. She was on Krugs. Baron's gone. And Blue White, after a huge fumble around the soul, still get away with Baron.
That was crazy. Yeah, literally, like 3 seconds after a completely back-breaking choke from Blue Whites right there. But this game's been going so well. They've been playing it so smart and in quite a subtle way as well. Just to get obliterated. And to feel like a lot of your hard work has just gone down the sink. Immediately make the call. Let's just do Nash. We'll do it. Like, these guys, they have no quit. They are not giving up whatsoever. A really, really great response. It's that kind of thing. You love to see a team who gets knocked down and then just decides, nah, we're still going for it. We're still involved. We're still in this game. We're still in the driver's seat. It's a great call.
And this is Quest's 4th game with the team, but already having a guy like this come on and start making calls like that, play things like the Mundo costume as well, joining in and having a pretty solid split on the whole this game, notwithstanding, of course. But you have got a team here who maybe next year, maybe with a little bit more time, could be something interesting to watch. It has been a rough entry into the NLC. But credit where it's due, they have certainly thrown enough punches of their own to make a bleeding face out of a team or two.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, this is great, just to see the evolution of this team. And yeah, it has to be said, a lot of it comes down to Quest, to be honest. Costum as well has to get some credit for his contributions to this team and their success. But really, I mean, you can just look at it in this game, right? Like, there are a lot of ganks coming through from Bartoldi, which is very, very typical of Lightside and the way they play in Bartoldi's early game. Like, he gets a lot of kills, but I have noticed, we get to this point, and one of Lightside's weaknesses as a team is they don't quite have that killer instinct, and it gets now to where someone like Quest, who's just been farming, is 2 levels up, but here comes the engage.
Could be in danger, gets stunned up, doesn't have a flash, could be in danger. The Magnet Storm afterwards. There is the call for Mom, and Elijah gets a hold of Quest as well. They finally bring down the Mundo.
But look at the map. Look at the map. This is it. There were 5 people for that play. 5 people for a kill. MKR has Baron buff. Victor has Baron buff in bot side as well. That's one turret, so already that's worth the kill in my opinion. It just depends what light side get on the top
Probably
side
lose
here.
the top 2. Yeah, I think the tier 2 up here is likely under threat. The Luxor will step up and should be able to clear the wave out at least for one rotation. Bot side though, Costum now onto a tier 2 of his own. Fruity Fresh has to go over there as Sumi just blows up gets another kill there. That might make things a bit more interesting, and that tier 2 likely still going to go down in the long run. All the while in the bot lane, we've got that tier 2 finally falling there, so they do get both outer turrets there, or both turrets rather, in the bot lane. So there is at least a trade back for Blue Whites, who get a nominal gold lead from this Baron, even if it is not a great one. You get 2,000 gold for taking the Baron. It's only plus 300 now.
Very nice stuff here for both teams, to be honest. Really kicking into gear at this point. Great responses from Blue White to the more proactive elements of light side's gameplay. You know, getting those two towers bot is great. Potentially could have got something mid as well, but obviously it's tough when, you know, in hip turret it's quite it's tough to take that one down. But a good response. But still, light side coming together, hunting down Quest, and then turning that into an inner turret of their own. You know, Dragon is spawning in 1 minute's time. Both these teams want to try and set up around this drag. Again, as a reminder, this would be Soul for Blue Whites, a Mountain Soul as well. Big deal if they can lock it down. A lot of the vision control is for the top side of the map here for light side, which is not where you want it to be at this point.
No, I'll also note, we haven't seen Fruity Fresh's stacks for a while, but there it is. He's hit the 225. You can see the line turn up on quests. So this Smolder at 2.5 items online as well in terms of ability to maybe be a late game threat that few people can match.
Yeah, Fast Leg's the one to keep your eye on. He was the hero for the last team fight. I'm sweating watching Costum, MKR, and Veluxa stacking on top of each other. Sumi flank. Uh-oh.
He gets chunked out, but what's up? Jumped on! The death cap does so much work, but Sumi takes huge amounts of damage, has to flash away. Fruity Fresh, though, again calls him mom, and the cry for help is answered well and truly. Costum is dead. There'll be a reset for Sumi, who can begin to teleport back in with the HP afterwards.
That's it. The fact that Sumi can get that TP back in is going to be a big deal right here. Health bars are a little bit low, but this should be light side's fight.
Oh, man. Soul would still be secured though if Blue Whites can stop this one. Into the backline goes Fast Leg, getting a big chunk onto Eget. They've killed off Veluxa down. Quest executed too. And the fights around dragons are Smolders to win. He was a dragon to begin with. Did you ever really think you could defeat the family matters here? MKR about to be chunked out. An ace for Sumi, who picks up the death cap. Now has level 16. And they'll march through the mid lane to try and at least break an inhibitor.
Costum being alive should save the game here for Blue Whites. But they're hanging by a thread at this point. Sumi is kicking and screaming light side across this finish line right here. What a performance by him. Honestly, like the picks this guy has made, the kills he's got, and I said this wasn't an easy match for him to execute, to go mega, and he's found a way to do it. It's crazy stuff. And just again, he did it versus Costum. Look at that mid gap. Not to be too rude, huge. But bruh, 609 170. It is something.
Yeah,
it is something.
I'm looking at 3 items plus Blighting Jewel plus a fully stacked Dark Seal. Eget's is gone.
Yeah,
oh
when you can just WR and one-shot people, Yep.
It's a tough time, and again, we've seen good things again from Blue Whites. The kill score isn't pretty, but the fact they got to some point, they snuck the Baron, they were competitive, even if the kills have been frustrating to come by. The problem is we've now got a LeBlanc who is pretty much unmatchable in terms of the 1v1. We've got a Smolder who's at 3.5 items, has hit the critical mass of stacks, and now they're going to have Baron to boot. It is getting harder and harder and harder for Blue Whites to find their own light side in this game.
It's going to be tough. This is it. Oh my goodness.
Good attempt.
Yeah, that looks quite close. Sumi almost died as well. You can see that. That's his blinking health bars right there. Oh my goodness. Blue Whites, they had it all. They had it, and they've just faltered in these fights right here. Light side being able to make some pretty good things of it. And right now they are far and away in the driver's seat. Just look at it. Look at the carries here on the scoreboard. Look at Smolder. Look at Sumi as well on this LeBlanc. A lot of bounties if they get caught, which can bring Blue Whites back into the game. But it's a tough situation right here for sure. 18 kills to 4. Fairly significant gap in that total.
Yeah, I think that's a way of putting it. Looks nearly a mega, maybe looking for something. Again, the problem Blue Whites are running into is like, yes, you've got all these people who could be quite scary if they can do damage, but how on earth do you force a fight on your terms? It's Quest hitting a ukulele slow is kind of it. It's the Veluxa flank, that's kind of it. And it has proven difficult in these fights when LLS's ability to pull the trigger on the blink of an eye that's proven so difficult to manage.
It's impossible, really. Oh! Speaking of,
that might be the angle. Does get on to Smolder, who does take some damage, but Fruity Fresh going to lock it on top of him and calls him mom again, and the healing, plus the damage is just too much to manage. Quest healing up with a little bit of a maximum dosage, but I just don't know whether there's enough in the syringe to keep Quest topped up. They lose the engage, and again, they throw everything and the kitchen sink. I'm not sure whether that's what Nar is throwing in this particular skin, but we'll count it for here, and they still can't kill the Smolder. They still can't find a kill in general. The base is broken, and Blue Whites are down a member and down most of their base structures.
It's looking hairy,
God, the damage
isn't it?
afterwards.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. With the Victor, you'd think you have some pretty good wave clear, but not when there's Baron working on their side as well. This could just be it here for Lightside. It's been a difficult game, but they're trying to break open the base. They're trying to end it here.
A valiant effort from Blue Whites, who again are better than the score suggests. Again, look like they can throw a punch or two, but they are a lightweight in a heavyweight boxing match. Lightside still in the hunt for playoffs, still in the hunt for another win, but hey, Blue Whites defending here pretty well. Quest gonna be pulled back, you think, by the Infernal Chase, not quite yet. Elijah gonna try and clean up some members of Cosmo, has to flash on now as Elijah in a 1 versus 3. Aatrox, the World Ender, claims a double. Veluxa gets a stun into the wall, but the healing is just obscene. A triple, it wasn't a top lane game, but Elijah's still here to play. The Prophet is here, a quadra for the World Ender. No Penta to be found, a Magnet Storm thrown out in celebration, and Lightside, the playoff streams are not dead yet.
It was looking really tough and leery for Lightside, wasn't it, for the first 20 minutes of this game? I was feeling it for Blue Whites, man. They were doing so well. They were doing so well. They played the map really well. Their macro, their calls was all sublime. But their team fighting, specifically around Dragon, just was not it. And they disrespected Sumi on endless occasions, just feeding him, giving him kills over and over, unnecessary, so that he became a monster and turned, which should have been a very difficult, a very neutered LeBlanc presence, into an absolute god. And some good smoke and mirrors, some great objective play was not enough to overcome the absolutely sublime team fighting, the absolutely giga-fed LeBlanc, as you said, but enough from us for now. We'll cut to a break, and when we come back, the desk will break it down.
Break it down, break it down. Step on the gas, let's get out of town. We're gonna break out and have some fun. We're gonna do what you never done. Oh yeah, yeah. Come on, take your body with you. It's a money weekend.